Episode number 21, Hell Devil. Cain did not lose much time being amazed by the might of his kinetic gauntlets. He took out the spearhead, which was now only useful as a blade, and removed the hearts of the wave beasts before flashing away. Obtaining that wave artifact was like giving wings to a T-Rex. Cain's killing speed increased exponentially, and he could now confidently face level 2 wave beasts. His rush stopped after he again picked up a sulfur scent for the second time. Unlike wave beasts, facing a wave warrior of Infernus demon race was difficult, even with his wave artifact. Cain followed the scent, which led him to a large mountain. It came from a cave, which immediately drew some problems for him. Since Cain could not establish eye contact using the pseudo-cellular analyses, tool became much harder. He would have to get close enough so that the Infernus demon could enter the range of his basic scan force field. As he silently approached the cave, the system sent a warning signal. Warning. Basic scan force field has detected several magic matrices in the surroundings. If touched, they will trigger a spell. Magic matrices locations marked. Cain's eyes narrowed, and his alertness spiked as the system marked invisible magic matrices hidden around the cave. Abyssal demons, while intelligent enough to put traps, usually disdain to do it, so the one inside the cave must be a hell devil. Just like the Godslayer humankind had many lineages, the Infernus demon race also had more than one. According to the Dark Race Compendium, the Infernus demon race had 3 main lineages, and the hell devils were fond of traps and schemes. Cain dodged all the magic matrices and got close enough to the cave for the basic scan force field to cover the Infernus demon. It did not take long for the system's voice to appear in his mind. Target scan successful. Race, Infernus demon race. Lineage, Hell Devil race. Path of power, Essence evolution, level 2 wave warrior. Stats. Strength, 0.14. Agility, 0.19. Vitality, 0.27. Essence wave, 0.48. Note, there is a foreign object hidden inside the target's body. As Cain suspected, the one inside the cave was a hell devil. As for the fact it had taken the essence evolution path of power despite having a lineage, that did not surprise him. Not because you have a lineage, you would necessarily embark on the astral rebirth path of power. Some chose not to take it because of its harshness, and others had lineages that were more suitable for the essence evolution path of power. Just marching inside the cave would be suicide. A barrage of spells would come to greet me before I could even get close to the hell devil. Cain began considering the best path forward and ran many simulations with the system. It did not take long before a plan appeared in his mind. He got next to the mountain that held the cave and began to strike it in several locations before charging the matrix in his right gauntlet and giving a final blow. Those strikes were not thrust randomly since the system marked them as weak points. A second after that, Cain connected a kinetic blast, and the cave began to tremble. It was a matter of time before it collapsed. Since running into it would be suicide, he forced the hell devil to come out. A beautiful humanoid woman emerged from the cave. She was similar to a human, other than her red skin and horns. Despite her appearance, the woman's eyes were cold as she surveyed the surroundings. The hell devil felt the astral wave and knew an enemy was near. She quickly discovered the youth covered in a dark purple wave cloak flashing toward her.
Wait, please don't do this.
The woman's plight and the sad expression on her face could have moved anyone's heart, especially that of a youth. Yet Cain's expression remained resolute no matter what he heard or saw. It was not that he did not find the woman attractive. If he was honest, the red color of her skin hit the right spot. Unfortunately for the hell devil, Cain would not back down now. He had decided to join the Imperial military force in the future, which would mean killing members of the dark races. While he no longer hid behind an excuse, letting the indoctrination of the Godslayer humankind empire guide him, that did not mean he would show any mercy. The woman saw that her words did not work, and her sad expression turned cold as she raised her hand and fired a fireball. That spell was fired almost instantly from her hand because she had been preparing it from the moment she saw the youth. Cain had expected such an attack and was ready to counter it. His left gauntlet glowed as he connected a kinetic blast to the ground, triggering an explosion that fired dozens of large rocks forward. The rocks and the fireball counter each other, allowing Cain to appear right before the hell devil. Just as he was about to send a blow toward her neck, he heard the system's voice. Warning, incoming spell from 8 o'clock. Kane's eyes widened as he heard that. He had made sure to survey the surroundings before the battle started, but he found no one, and if not for the basic scan force field, he would have never known until it was too late. I cannot dodge it nor form a proper defense in such a short time. Kane's mind worked extremely fast, searching for a way to survive, and he found it. He continued advancing, but instead of striking the Hell Devil's throat, he grabbed it and her waist before turning around. The youth used the Hell Devil as a shield against the spell. Dozens of small shadow blades landed on the Hell Devil's back, cutting the flesh like nothing and leaving deep lacerations in the spine. Due to the hasty defense, some blades also landed on Kane. Kane clenched his teeth as he endured the pain and focused on where the attack came from. Surprise and rage emerged in his eyes as he saw that the attackers were not members of the dark races, but humans. A man and a woman walked out of the tree's cover. A shadowy aura emerged from the latter that covered both. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 22, Overcoming Burning Rate. The duo was a man and a woman, and their dark purple and sky blue wave cloaks revealed the path of power they had taken.
Oh, I am sorry for those wounds. I did not see you. Luckily, you were able to react to my shadow blades.
Kane saw the woman smiling toward him, but the evident disdain in her eyes told him all he needed to know. He felt his rage growing stronger and was doing all he could to stop himself from lunging toward them. Without saying a word, Kane raised the Hell Devil by the neck and calmly began walking toward the cave's entrance. Although Kane's composure surprised the duo, they never cared about his response. What mattered to them was the dying Hell Devil in his hands and the wave artifact.
Filthy commoner, how dare you to ignore Lady Nera, a member of the Viscount Kyler's household?
The man roared, showing a righteous expression as if they were doing Kane a favor by talking to him. Nera's smile vanished as she saw Kane's coldness, but she remained calm. The Hell Devil was mortally wounded, but if they wanted the Imperial military credits for her death, they needed to be the ones that gave the final blow. If they charged toward Kane, this one might break the Hell Devil's neck before escaping, which was not good.
Hand over the Hell Devil and the wave artifact you stole, and we will let you leave unharmed.
Nera's words were harsh and seemed not to leave room for discussion. She never considered the wave artifact as Kane's property, as a commoner could not possess something like that in her mind. Kane felt his rage soaring without control as he heard how those two spoke to him. It reached the point he had to bite his tongue to remain calm. Luckily, Kane did not have to endure for long, since once he reached a specific point, he activated Wave Burst. Nera and the man thought Kane wanted to fight and sneered, since not only did they outnumber him, they were both level 2 wave warriors. However, instead of attacking, Kane used his enhanced strength to break the Hell Devil's neck and bury his hand in her stomach. Kane's coldness and savagery surprised the duo, giving him enough time to extract the wave artifact and run away.
You dare to run?
The man roared as he saw Kane escaping and immediately chased. Sadly, he walked over a magic matrix, which triggered an explosion.
James!
Nera had just started to charge her spell when she saw the blast. While the explosion seemed mighty, spells engraved on the ground in the form of magic matrices were not particularly strong, so James was only sent flying away with some burn mark over his body. Nera walked over to James and helped him stand up. Both of them could still fight, but Kane had already vanished.
Filthy commoner!
James roared in rage as he felt his skin burning.
It is not worth bothering with him. Let's explore the zone and see if we find something valuable.
Nera was also furious, but since Kane had already vanished from their sight, it would be almost impossible to track him down now. Kane ran through the forest for more than an hour before stopping. His face twisted due to the immense rage that filled him. It was as if his blood was burning, demanding him to fight. The way the Jew looked at him, as if he was a mere insect that should happily bow down to them, sickened him. He rose to a tree and adopted a meditative position, focusing on resting and calming his fury. It took him a while, but as night fell, he finally relaxed. That woman's shadows, Not only did it hide the presence, it even covered the scent. Cain was able to quickly deduct how the duo was able to get so near without him noticing them. As for how they located him, that had many answers, with one being pure bad luck. They might happen to stumble upon him by chance. The truth was that the reason did not matter. Those shadow blades almost killed him, and Cain was not the forgiving type. According to the scan I did before entering the trial, they were both level 2 wave warriors, with the man having advanced recently. Fighting a single level 2 wave warrior almost cost him his life, and was when he had a plan and was able to set an ambush. Fighting the duo with his current strength was suicidal. Cain shook his head as he threw away the notion of fighting the duo inside the military academy secret trial. He could not win in a direct battle, and unlike Neera and James, he was not willing to break the rules about killing other humans and infuriate Vice Captain Joseph. He took out a wave beast's heart and soldier drugs, and after a session of cultivation and healing, he focused on the wave artifact taken out of the Hell Devil. Wave artifact branded through AI chip module, displaying information. Name, Fire Sod. Grade, High Bronze. Details, artifact meant for Essence Wave Warriors, able to enhance spells with fire attributes. Active ability. Fire Burst. Once you charge enough Essence Wave, it can fire a 2-meter tall arc of fire capable of crossing 100 meters in 3 seconds. Cain was surprised by the Wave artifact's information. Not only about its power, but the fact that Essence Warriors would use something like sods.
It is more common than you might think.
Apex's voice surprised Cain. The system spirit usually spent all his time using the basic hacking tool to gather information, so they have not talked a lot recently.
Can you elaborate?
Although all the information Apex obtained was at his disposal, Cain would prefer not to go through millions of files right now. Luckily for Cain, Apex did not leave him in suspense.
Essence Wave cultivators are not the typical mages of your fairy tales. If that were the case, their usefulness on the battlefield would be limited. Although Essence Wave warriors do focus on long-range attacks, they can deploy impressive meal skills, especially those that train some auxiliary body refinement techniques.
Cain nodded to Apex's words and proceeded to save the white orb in his backpack. Using the sod without proper skills was useless, especially since the damage he could do with his fists was higher. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 23, Light Boots. Cain spent the next few days going deep into the forest, killing all the wave beasts he found in his path. It was not up to 5 days after the encounter with the duo that he found another dangerous target again. He followed the sulfur scent and discovered an abyssal demon resting in an area full of broken trees. To his surprise, this one seemed severely injured, and the youth figured out a large fight had occurred by the blood pattern across the ground. Cain did not waste too much time and immediately scanned the abyssal demon. Target scan successful. Race, Infernus Demon Race. Lineage, Abyssal Demon. Path of Power, Astral Rebirth, Level 2 Wave Warrior. Stats. Strength, 0.54. Agility, 0.3. Vitality, 0.47. Astral Wave, 0.44. Note, target is heavily wounded and cannot fully deploy his battle power. There is a foreign object hidden inside his body. Not only was this abyssal demon weaker than the one Cain faced a month ago, but he was severely injured, making things even easier. There were many paths Cain could take to handle this abyssal demon, and due to the broken trees, setting a sneak attack was not hard. Nevertheless, as he saw the fearless expression on his enemy's face, his eyes glowed with determination. The abyssal demon was doing his best to recover his energy when he saw a youth coming out of the tree's cover and walking to him. He narrowed his eyes and looked at the surroundings, but detected no one else.
Ha 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 ha, finally, one of you is not a coward and fights heads-on.
Cain did not say a word, but his aura exploded as he used Wave Cloak and Wave Burst at once.
Let's do this.
The abyssal demon roared as he also triggered Wave Cloak and Wave Burst before charging toward Cain and firing a fist. Cain countered with his own fist, making the sound of a small shock wave appear due to the strength they unleashed. None of them could surpass the other, but Cain did not remain still and fired a kick that landed straight in the abyssal demon's jaw. Before Cain could get too happy, a fist had landed on his chest, sending him flying away. The abyssal demon would have wanted to chase, but that kick shook his brain, temporarily paralyzing him. Cain used those seconds to step up from the ground as a metallic taste appeared in his mouth. That punch was hurtful, but not enough to reduce his battle power. I lowered my guard after my attack landed. The damage would have been much worse if he was not so wounded.
One of the reasons Cain chose to take a direct approach was to train himself. He would not always be able to count on ambushes or sneak attacks, nor would he always have time to simulate the battle beforehand, so he had to learn how to adapt at the moment. The abyssal demon shook his head as he regained his focus, just in time to a fist bathed in astral wave fired toward his throat. He raised his arm just in time to block it, but a kick landed directly on his knee the next second. Cain had just landed that kick before jumping back, dodging an elbow strike that targeted the top of his head. Like that, the battle carried on with both exchanging blows. Cain's attacks and reactions became faster, but the abyssal demon could not say the same. The abyssal demon's wounds worsened as the battle continued, making his movements sluggish.
Kinetic blast.
After 3 minutes, Cain ended the battle as he connected a fist right in the center of the abyssal demon's chest and triggered kinetic blast. The abyssal demon trembled as the impact caused massive internal trauma and pushed him back a few meters. He fell to the ground and no longer stood up as his heart stopped beating. Cain approached the abyssal demon and was surprised to see a smile on this one's face. A good death is its own reward. I guess what they say about abyssal demons is true. They live for the thrill of battle. Cain nodded toward the fallen enemy before using the spearhead to take out the heart and wave artifact. He left and rested after running for at least 30 minutes. First, he rose to a tree, took out some soldier drugs and a wave beast's heart and recovered. Although the fight was not easy, he did not have broken bones, at most some bruises. Once Cain was fully rested and managed the worst of his injuries, he inspected the wave artifact. Wave artifact branded through AI chip module, displaying information, name light boots. Grade medium bronze. Details artifact meant for astral wave warriors. Able to enhance wave's density around legs, improving the force put into the ground, propelling your body forward with greater strength, therefore increasing your speed. Active ability. Burst, once you charge enough astral wave, it will propel you forward with great speed. Cain could not be happier with the wave artifact. Even if the light boots lacked an offensive ability, he could use burst in many ways. It would help him during a battle and also improve his survival skills. Taking advantage of his resting, Cain called for the system to show him his current Destiny Force. Destiny Force 0.2. As soon as he saw those numbers, Cain frowned. Apex, didn't you say that I could steal destiny by killing others? Why did I obtain nothing from the abyssal demons and the hell devil I killed? Cain was sure there was no difference between races for the absolute life form system, so he did not believe that only humans could work regarding stealing.
Brat, when it comes to stealing someone's destiny, there are 2 points to consider. The might of their destiny and how high is yours compared to theirs. If your destiny is much higher than the ones you kill, you will get nothing no matter how much you slaughter. The reason you get nothing from those inside the Military Academy secret trial is simple. Just what kind of destiny could those abyssal demons and hell devil have? Cain immediately understood Apex's words. Every member of the dark races inside the secret military trial was bound to die, so their destiny was basically zero. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 24, Atrox Immortus Race. Cain spent the next couple of weeks hunting wave beasts and faced 2 hell devils during that time. All the dark races warriors he found were part of the Infernus demon race, which told Cain that those warriors were packed together according to their races. He also detected humans multiple times, but avoided any meeting. There are less than 2 weeks until the trial is over. I will keep exploring for a couple more days before returning. That thought just crossed Cain's mind when he detected a human's scent. Coldness emerged in his eyes since he knew the owner. It was the same duo that almost cost him his life. Cain felt his blood burning as his desire to kill grew stronger. Remembering how the duo looked at him still made him feel an endless fury. Not yet. Cain calmed himself and began walking in the opposite direction of the duo. Although he had grown stronger, he was still a level 1 wave warrior, and facing 2 level 2 would be suicide. Not long after that, Cain picked up a strong smell of blood. Due to the killing, he was used to it, but the scent was too potent and fresh. Cain's eyes narrowed, and he hid his aura the best he could as he approached the scent's origin. It did not take long for him to find the sauce, and what he saw drew an absolute dread in his heart. In the youth's vision, there was a man with silver armor made of thousands of blades beneath a waterfall. There was destruction all around him, and the water reaching his waist was pure red. That color came from the almost 20 bodies lying impaled around him. Most of them were wave beasts, but there were 3 that belonged to cadets. Atrox Immatus race. Cain remembered the words he read in the Dark Race compendium about them. As he focused on the cadets impaled in the rocks around the waterfall, his eyes widened with sheer terror since he saw they were still alive. Just like humankind earned its title through their massacre of gods, the Immatus race gained theirs due to the terror they infused on their enemies. Cain felt his heart beating faster and faster, forcing him to do his best to control himself. There was no way he would face that monster, but still, he commanded the system to scan him. Target scan successful. Race, Atrox Immatus race. Lineage, passive power, astral rebirth, level 3 wave warrior. Stats: Strength, 0.75. Agility, 0.69. Vitality, 0.19. Astral wave, 0.66. Note: target's vitality is in a state of severe disarray. There is a foreign object hidden inside his body. Absolute shock appeared on Cain's face as he saw those stats. He could not believe that the soldiers had let a level 3 wave warrior inside the military academy secret trial. Even worse, one of the Atrox Immatus race. The fact that the Atrox's vitality was in disarray meant nothing for Cain, as he knew that if they were to fight, he would die before landing even a single blow. Without second thoughts, Cain slowly made his way out of the vicinity. He had moved for less than 100 meters when it happened.
Idiot.
The sound of a screech made Cain's entire body tremble. He turned to the side and saw a wave beast with the form of a hawk looking at him. The wave beast was outside his basic scan force field, range, and Cain failed to pick up the scent because he focused solely on the Atrox. Cain couldn't care less about the wave beast. What mattered to him was that he felt 2 eyes focusing in his direction, making his instinct scream like crazy.
Idiot.
The wave beast screeched again as it lunged toward Cain, but the youth's boot glowed before he flashed away like a lightning bolt.
H.
Less than 3 seconds later, Cain heard that horrible scream of pain, making his blood run cold, pushing him to run even faster. He was burning his astral wave like a madman and constantly activating his light boots ability.
That man already discovered your presence. After he finishes with the wave beast, he will come for you. Running will not help since he is several times faster than you. You should think of something quick, brat, or else you will die.
Cain heard Apex's voice and knew he needed to think fast, but there was a problem. He could usually react to a dangerous situation very fast, but right now, fear clouded his mind. What he saw near the waterfall terrified him, and the idea that it could happen to him affected his reasoning. Luckily for Cain, the system spirit seemed to have recognized his plight and decided to give him a hand.
Members of the Atrox Immortus race are inclined to inflict intense pain on their opponents. That wave beast will buy you a few seconds, but if you want a chance, you need to give him a prey he wants as much as you.
A cold light crossed Cain's eyes as he heard those words and knew what kind of prey could give him enough time. Other humans. If he guided the Atrox toward another cadet, Cain could obtain enough time to escape. Just like when he decided to kill for the first time, uncertainty appeared in Cain's eyes, and just like back then, he remembered his father's words.
What is the point of surviving if you do it full of regret?
Cain yelled those words. He did it to reaffirm his heart, as he would never take that path.
Ha ha ha, well done, brat. You are right. People willing to sacrifice the weak and innocent so they can prolong their disgusting lives are worse than garbage.
Apex's voice was full of thrill, but viciousness appeared as he continued.
However, not everybody here is innocent.
Kane's eyes grew cold as he heard that, and there was no hesitation in them this time. He focused on his sense of smell and found the scent he was looking for. He made a sharp turn to the left and ran with everything he had. The muscles on his legs were burning, but he did not care and kept pushing harder. Suddenly, a sense of absolute doom assaulted Kane. He felt a presence about to reach his back. Just as fear was about to freeze his mind, his eyes glowed with red light. Kane felt all the fear vanish, and his mind suddenly heightened, making everything around him move extremely slowly, and mobilizing his astral wave became several times easier. He did not know what happened, but that did not matter, as he found a way to survive. He arched his body and turned around as the matrix in the kinetic gauntlets shone. By the time he had fully turned, a fist was about to land on his head, but Kane smiled since his attack landed first.
Crack.
The sound of bones breaking echoed through the forest as the Atrox received a double kinetic blast right in the chest. The Atrox puked blood before being sent flying away, piercing through a tree on his path. Kane did not resist the recoil and instead used it to propel his body away. His mind returned to normal, but there was no time for questions as he continued running. That attack harmed the Atrox, but Kane knew it would only buy him a few moments, nothing more. Luckily, that was all Kane needed, as after jumping past a small river, he found the ones he was looking for. Nira and James were surprised to see Kane appear out of nowhere. Before the duo could react, the youth only showed a cold smile and used his light boots to flash away.
That trash got another wave artifact.
James' eyes showed his greed, as did Nira.
Boom.
However, both froze the next instant as they heard a small crash behind them. The duo turned their heads and saw a 3-meter-tall man covered in blade armor. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 25, Level. Kane heard the sound of cries and explosions behind him, but did not look back and just continued running. He did not know how long the Atrox would spend with the duo, so he needed to use this time to get as far away as possible. His astral wave finally depleted after 5 more minutes of running, but he kept going forward despite feeling he would pass out from the exhaustion. An hour later, Kane had finally reached his breaking point, and with the last strengths left in him, he climbed a tree before falling asleep. 10 hours later, Kane's eyes slowly opened. At first, there was drowsiness, but when the memories of what just happened reached his mind, he almost jumped from the branch and focused his senses. Kane calmed only after ensuring he was alone and there was no one in the vicinity. A smile appeared on his face as he looked at his arms and remembered the blow he landed on the Atrox. However, along with that happiness, there was also confusion. Kane did not understand how his mind reached such a heightened state and why his astral wave mobilized so smoothly and fast all of a sudden.
Apex.
The youth knew that Apex constantly used the basic hacking to obtain information from the Godslayer Humankind network, so he hoped there would be some insight into his previous state.
Sorry, Brat. Although there are some mentions of your state in the Empire Science Academy, the data I have collected is too shallow. I might come up with an answer after more digging. If I do, you will know.
Kane sighed and nodded toward the system spirit's words. It seemed he would have to wait. After using some wave beast's hearts as food and replenishing his astral wave, Kane got down from the tree and continued his journey back to the entrance. He did not distract, avoided all fights, and just ran. It took Kane almost 1 week and a half to race back to the entrance. He was surprised to see many cadets already present, and there was also Vice Captain Joseph standing there. Kane's appearance drew a lot of attention due to the wave artifacts in his arms and legs. Many showed greed, but not even those cadets from noble families would dare to do something with Vice Captain Joseph present. Although Kane felt those stares, he did not bother with them. After finding an empty spot to sit down, he began to take wave beast's hearts to train and eat. Once again, Kane drew attention. Since the cadets all hunted in groups, none of them had wave beast's hearts left. Some cadets got near Kane to see if they could buy the hearts, but the youth did not even glance at them. He was just too engrossed in his training and had no interest in selling something so beneficial for him. A few days later, Cain's body trembled and felt a rush of strength as his wave cloak manifested on its own, growing stronger. Vice Captain Joseph turned toward Cain, and a small smile appeared on his face for a second before returning toward his stoic expression. Cain opened his eyes and could not help but smile as he understood what had just happened. Level 2. The eyes of many nobles focused on him as they saw that. Although they could not be sure, they had deduced that Cain entered the trial as a newly advanced level 1 wave warrior. So, for him to advance so fast, his wave talent was above tier 3. Cain couldn't care less about the gazes of the cadets and immediately commanded the system to scan him. System, scan me. Scanning vessel. Name, Cain Lorifer. Race, Godslayer humankind. Path of power, astral rebirth level 2 wave warrior. Lineage, lightning lupus. Wave talent, low tier 4. Stats. Strength, 0.19. Agility, 0.25. Vitality, 0.22. Wave, 021. Awesome, Cain was thrilled with his advance and improved stats. Had I been this strong at the start of the trial, my gains would have been much higher. Cain did not linger too much on those thoughts since they did not matter. He closed his eyes and continued training. While the feeling of strength was great, he did not forget the immense might of the Atrox and how close he came to losing his life. After a few days, a metallic sound woke Cain out of his training, and he saw how the gates out of the danger zone were opening, and many soldiers crossed it. Most of the cadets were already here, and soldiers would explore the danger zone to catch the wave beasts and warriors of the dark races still alive, and they would also pick up the corpses of the dead cadets. Cain stood up with a smile on his face. He had grown a lot in this trial, both in body and mind. Just as he was about to reach the open gates, he heard a voice that shocked him.
You.
That voice belonged to someone Cain was sure was dead. He turned around and saw Neera's frail figure. Large wounds were all over her body, and her right arm was gone. Fuck. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 26, Atone for My Sins. Neera's pitiful figure did not just call Cain's attention, as everybody from the cadets to the soldiers on their way to explore the danger zone, and even Vice Captain Joseph turned to her. The first one to walk toward Neera was a handsome young man with pale skin, dark hair, and yellow eyes. Despite his somewhat thin appearance, there was a powerful aura around him. He was not alone as a group of 9 cadets followed behind him. Most were nobles, but at least 2 came from a humbler background.
What happened, Lady Neera?
The man's voice was soft yet possessed a powerful sense of authority. Cain's eyes narrowed as he saw that pale youth. He had already scanned him, and after the red-eyed man, he was the strongest of this batch of cadets. Unlike Cain's cautious gaze, Neera's eyes glowed with happiness as she saw that pale youth. However, that happiness vanished as soon as she focused again on Cain. That was visible to all, and clearly there was a story between them.
It is all that man's fault. He led an Atrox toward James and me. He did not even give us a warning before running away, leaving us to face that monster on our own.
Neera began sobbing before throwing herself toward the pale youth's chest. Still, that did not mean she would stop speaking.
We only met once, but he left after we refused to take him as part of our team. How could we have imagined that he would be so spiteful to do such a thing? Poor James used all his strength to give me a few seconds to escape. He is now.
Neera began to cry at that moment. Although she did not finish her sentence, everybody could imagine James' fate. Cain's eyes grew incredibly cold as he heard Neera's words. It was all right if she told everybody about him guiding the Atrox to them. He felt no regret or shame for his actions, but her lies made him furious.
I am Zamia Jarkan, 3rd son of Count Jarkan. You use fellow humans as a shield against members of the dark races. There can be nothing more despicable than that. How do you plan to atone for your sins?
Zamia's face carried a sense of rightful indignation, making all the other cadets look at him as some sort of hero. Cain froze for a moment as he heard Zamia's words. This one demanded that he atone for his sins, declaring him guilty without even bothering to listen to his side of the story. The other nobles remained silent, but it was clear with whom they would side. As for the few commoners present, they all stick with their groups. Vice Captain Joseph saw all this and did not interfere. Still, his eyes had a profound light as he waited for everything to play out. Kane could explain everything that happened with the duo. How Nira and James ambushed him when he fought a Hell Devil and almost killed him. The AI chip module recorded everything through the basic data gathering and analysis tool. Nevertheless, as Kane saw all the scornful stares the other cadets gave him, he knew it would be futile. They have already found me guilty. No matter what I say, even if I show definite proof of Nira's wrongdoing, they would just twist the truth and turn it against me. As realization reached his mind, all the growing doubt and fear in his heart vanished, and Kane stared back at all those cadets with nothing but calm in his eyes. Zamia's eyes narrowed as he saw that look. He secretly wanted Kane to rebel and yell at them, allowing him to display his diplomatic skills to all those watching, but things didn't go his way.
Victor, go and arrest him.
Zamia spoke to a cadet in the back of his group. The one that received the command was a tall youth, almost one head higher than the others, with commoner clothes. Despite his size, he was among the weakest as he was still a level 1 essence wave warrior.
Eyes.
Victor unconsciously shook his head as he heard that command. Kane was a level 2 astral wave warrior. How could he possibly handle someone like that? Of course, the tall youth did not dare to refute. He knew very well what Zamia was capable of.
You are carrying out my orders. Anyone that goes against them is my enemy. Do it and you might get his boots.
Zamia did not hide his words and made sure everybody heard them. He displayed his managing skills and how those who followed him could benefit, even if they were commoners. As soon as the tall Victor heard those words, all his reluctance was pushed away by greed. He almost ran toward Kane, fearing someone else would take his job. As he was about to grab Kane, a nasty smile appeared on his face. The fact both came from a similar background did not matter, as the only thing in his mind right now were the boots. He was sure that this one would not dare to resist after Zamia's words. The moment Victor put his hand over Kane's shoulder, his entire body froze as he saw 2 cold eyes that seemed capable of piercing his soul. Before Victor could do anything, Kane grabbed his head and blasted him against the ground. That scene shocked everybody, and before they could even process it, Kane stamped Victor's chest, making this one puke blood before unleashing his wave cloak.
You want me to atone for my sins. Make me.
Kane spoke those words and put more pressure on Victor's chest. Kane's savagery shocked everybody. Only Vice Captain Joseph could see the calmness behind those actions. Had Kane truly lost control, he would activate his wave cloak before stomping on Victor's chest, which would have resulted in the death of this one. Zamia was taken back by the sudden events, and things only grew worse as he saw how all the cadets turned toward him for guidance. Everything went smoothly up to this point, but now that an unexpected change had occurred, he did not know what to do. Just like one would expect from someone so young and inexperienced as Zamia, he chose violence in the first setback. Unfortunately for Zamia, Kane spoke before he could do anything.
Take 1 step forward, and I shatter his ribcage.
Kane put even more pressure on Victor's chest, making agony appear on this one's face.
Of course, if you don't care about the fate of the man following your orders, go ahead.
Kane knew that he could not defeat Zamia in a physical contest, so he targeted this one's ego and reputation. He hit the right spot since Zamia froze and dared not move a single step. The other nobles looked at the soldiers in the nearby area, but none of them dared to move without Vice Captain Joseph's orders. Now that Kane had handled the masses, he took a deep breath and was about to talk to Vice Captain Joseph. There was no point in speaking with the other cadets, and he no longer cared about their opinion. Kane had just opened his mouth when his eyes narrowed, and he focused on the trees, only to see the red-eyed youth emerge from them. Large wounds on the red-eyed youth's body gave everybody an idea of the battles he endured. The worst injuries were a deep cut on his right leg and an ugly bruise on his right shoulder that indicated broken bones. The tense atmosphere shattered when the red-eyed youth appeared due to the shock that assaulted everybody when they saw the body he dragged. It was an Atrox. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 27, Levi. The young man with red eyes resembled a mighty hero, standing there with a stoic expression on his face and the body of an Atrox in his hand. Cain was even more shocked than the others as he recognized the Atrox. It was exactly the one at level 3 that almost killed him. Zamia's eyes narrowed as he saw the red-eyed youth. He had stood away from this one before as he enjoyed being the center of attention, but now he smiled. The situation was out of his control, but he could not just back down, so Zamia chose to rely on the red-eyed youth's momentum to handle the situation and pressure Cain into submission.
Brother, it is good that you are here. The situation might seem strange, but what happened?
Zamia had just started speaking when the red-eyed youth stopped him.
First of all, don't call me brother, and second, I heard all of it. Your yelling was hard to ignore.
That short exchange enraged Zamia. He was being polite, and yet the red-eyed youth practically insulted him. Had anyone else done that, he would teach them a lesson, but things were not so simple this time. The red-eyed youth calmly walked toward Cain while dragging the Atrox's body. His face showed nothing, and after Zamia's fiasco, none of the nobles dared to talk to him. Cain's breath slowly as he prepared to handle anything. The red-eyed youth was undoubtedly more powerful than him, but that did not mean he would just give up. The distance between the two reduced until they were 5 meters apart. That length was nothing for level 2 astral wave warriors, and silence reigned as everybody waited to see what would happen.
My name is Levi. I know for a fact that you did guide the Atrox toward the duo. Could you tell me why you chose those two specifically?
Levi's words shocked all those present. He assured that Cain did indeed guide the Atrox toward Nera and James, but not only was there no sense of rebuke in his words, he even politely asked for an explanation.
Lord Levi, he did. Speak to me again, and I will break your jaw.
Just like with Zamia, Nera could not finish her sentence because Levi interrupted her. However, the red-eyed youth's behavior toward her was much colder. Levi did not bother to hide his emotions, and his eyes showed evident disgust as he stared at the woman. Nera was surprised by that. She had never met the red-eyed youth, yet this one clearly had a bad impression of her. Despite her anger, she did not dare to antagonize Levi and kept quiet. Cain was surprised by the sudden events. He had already given up on explaining what happened to the other cadets since they would never support him, but since Levi gave him a chance to speak, he took it.
I did guide the Atrox toward them. I needed to use someone to distract that monster, and since they did not have a problem attacking me while I fought a hell devil, I chose them. Lieth.
Cain had barely finished speaking when Nera yelled at him. However, before she could continue, she felt Levi's cold eyes focus on her neck. Levi's gaze was full of savagery as he stared at Nera, but calmed down as he focused on Cain.
Do you have proof that what you say is the truth?
Cain nodded toward Levi and sent a file from his AI chip module to the chip of this one. Levi closed his eyes for a moment as he went through the video recorded by Cain that clearly showed Nera and James attacking this one during the fight with the Hell Devil. Once Levi went through the video, he turned toward Nera and sneered.
HMPH, you attacked him before and almost took his life, yet now you are crying because he did something similar to you. I wonder how hypocritical can someone be?
Nera froze and saw how the nobles who before looked at her with pity slowly moved away. If Cain had shown the video before, she would have just said it was fake, and the others would have backed her, but no one dared side with her against Levi. She even saw how Zamia let go of her. The pitiful expression on her face vanished, and a poisonous hatred emerged in her eyes.
So what if I use him? He is just a lowly commoner. Die to help someone of a noble family like me should be an honor to him. James' death is all his fault.
Everybody was shocked by Nera's words. Her twisted mentality surprised even the nobles, and all the goodwill they had toward her vanished. Although many of the nobles did indeed see commoners as inferior, none of them would dare to say those words out loud, especially in the military. Commoner made up the bulk of the imperial military force, and many captains and other higher ranks came from such backgrounds, so Nera's words sever any path she might have in the military. Many of the commoners felt rage at those words, but the most potent killing intent did not come from them but from Levi. A burning astral wave burst out of the red-eyed youth as he stared at Nera, and without saying a word, he walked toward her. Nera froze as she felt that killing intent and saw Levi approaching. All the nobles had already moved away, and there was no way one of the commoners would step up to help her. Luckily for her, someone did intervene, and not even Levi could handle that man.
The military academy secret trial is over. You are not allowed to harm someone unless it is in self-defense.
Vice Captain Joseph's words reached everybody, and they knew things would not escalate anymore. Levy's eyes narrowed as he turned around and stared at Joseph. Unlike the others, there was a calm smile on the man's face, showing that the youth's fierce aura caused nothing on him. Neera took a breath of relief after hearing Vice Captain Joseph's words, but when Levi focused on her again, this time with a cold smile, she knew something horrible would happen.
I know he led the Atrox toward you because I had been lurking in the shadows waiting for a moment to attack this level 3 wave warrior. I was honestly surprised by the sudden events, but I adapted and chased while remaining hidden, meaning that I was also there when the Atrox attacked you and that man named James. Do you want me to show everybody what happened during that battle?
Levi's words confused people as they saw Neera's complexion grow pale.
Please, no.
Neera's plea did not stop Levi. The next second, everybody received an archive through their AI chips. Curiosity made it so that all opened the archive containing a video. In it, the cadets saw how Neera and James fought against the Atrox. At one point, Neera fell to the ground, and James jumped in front of the Atrox to protect her. Instead of showing gratitude, the woman fired a shadow blade toward James' leg. That allowed Neera to run away, certain that someone would be left behind to entertain the Atrox. That is how the video ended. What happened later, including the battle between Levi and the Atrox, was omitted. The cadets could only assume that James perished and that Levi managed to perform his ambush, allowing him to kill the Atrox. If before the nobles stood away from Neera to not be dragged down with her, now they did it as they could not stand her presence. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 28, Silver Ob. Neera did not know what to do. She became an absolute pariah in a second, and no one bothered to hide their scornful looks.
Lord Zamir.
Neera attempted to get closer to Zamia, but this one gave him one final look full of disdain and walked away. The woman crumpled to the ground as despair filled her eyes. She was alone, and her life in the military was over before it even started. However, no one cared about her. Those despicable actions and mentality had already pushed both commoners and nobles away. Zamia walked toward Cain with a smile on his face. There was nothing of the scorn he had shown before. He even gave Levi a polite salute when he got near the duo.
I had been deceived. I hope you can forgive my small mistake, but I could not simply ignore the words of a fellow cadet in her times of need. Anyway, you are a proud warrior, so what do you say if you let go of Victor and we get a fresh start? I am sure that a county's assistance will greatly help someone like you.
When the other cadets, soldiers, and even Vice Captain Joseph heard that, they all gave one meaningful look at the duo. Zamia was smart enough to adapt to the circumstances. He apologized while wisely putting all the blame on Neera and even mentioned his county's assistance, hinting that he could mobilize some of that wealth to help Cain if this one was smart enough. Cain saw Zamia extend his hand, and he knew that if he were to shake it, he would get access to great opportunities. Of course, that would also mean putting himself beneath the scion. There was a broad smile on Zamia's face, as he was sure that Cain would accept his apology and prove to the others he could handle things without the need for violence.
True friendship is valuable because very few are worthy of it.
Those words confused Zamia, but Cain did not care as he was reciting some of his father's teaching. Cain then stared at Zamia's palm, and a disgusted expression appeared on his face.
What kind of man would I become if I accepted the shallow friendship of someone who a few minutes ago was insulting me?
The idea of shaking Zamia's hand and accepting to become part of this one's group vanished before it appeared. Cain took his foot out of Victor's chest, finally allowing the paw cadet to lapse into unconsciousness. He did not do that to quarry favor with Zamia, but because he no longer needed to have a hostage. Zamia's eyes twitched as he saw his hand still extended, yet there was no one to shake it. In all his life, he had never found himself in a situation quite like this one. Even though Zamia's status was inferior to that of his two older brothers, He was confident that his time in the military would be smooth due to his background. He even dreamed of the moment that his status would rise to the level he could control Jockin County. However, everything went out of control, and whether or not he could recover from this setback was unknown.
Yes.
Zamia yelled as he activated his wave cloak and fired a fist toward the one he considered the origin of all his problems, Kane. Kane had predicted that such a thing would happen. That is why he did not deactivate his wave cloak. However, a smile appeared on his face as he felt a wind of air reach his back and knew he would not have to act.
Boom.
A small blast occurred as Zamia's punch clashed with Vice Captain Joseph's palm. All the cadets were surprised to see Vice Captain Joseph move at such striking speed without even needing to activate his wave cloak.
I warned you all. None was allowed to harm someone unless it was in legitimized self-defense. Crack.
The cadets heard Vice Captain Joseph's words before the sound of broken bones echoed.
All right.
Zamia yelled in pain while Vice Captain Joseph shattered the bones on his hand. Vice Captain Joseph's face showed nothing as he kept squeezing, making the sound of shattering bones louder. The Scion fell to the ground, and he did his best to stop tears from rolling down his cheeks.
Rules are something we soldiers take very seriously.
Vice Captain Joseph spoke to the cadets as he squeezed Zamia's fist into a bloody mass. He then focused on Nira, and his eyes grew cold.
Had you and James killed Kane, I would have cut your heads after the trial ended. If you think a measly Viscount could have protected you, you are even more stupid than I thought.
Nira trembled when she saw those eyes. She had initially thought nothing would happen to her if she broke the rules because of her background. All the nobles adopted a solemn expression as they reconsidered their understanding of the imperial military force. The weight their background carried around here was much smaller than they thought. Vice Captain Joseph finally let go of Zamia's hand before turning around and walking toward the gate.
Everybody must gather in an orderly fashion outside the danger zone in 10 minutes.
No one dared to disobey Vice Captain Joseph's words, and they all walked toward the gate. Some nobles helped Zamia, and a few commoners did the same with Victor. Kane was walking toward the gate when he noticed something coming toward his chest, and he caught it. His eyes narrowed as he saw a silver orb, similar to the ones he found in the Dark Race's warriors he killed.
The main reason I managed to defeat the Atrox was the severe lung trauma your attack caused on him. I always pay my debts, so that is yours. We are even.
Levi said those words to Kane before walking away. Kane's eyes narrowed as he found the red-eyed youth extremely odd, but he said nothing and starred the orb before walking toward the gate. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 29, Collapsing Lightning Military Academy Ranking. All the cadets gathered outside the Tier 0 danger zone and formed orderly following Vice Captain Joseph's instruction. Even Zamia was not an exception, as the Scion was terrified of what would happen if he disobeyed again. Vice Captain Joseph glanced at the cadets and nodded as he saw how the eyes of many had lost their original naivety.
Normally, the first 3 months in the Imperial Military Academy involve an intense program of martial arts, physical exercise, and wave cultivation, but you took the route of the secret trial. However, from now on, you will be together with the rest of the cadets. You will only have 3 classes for the next 3 months. They are military tactics, dark race assassination, and wave mastery. The schedule and other miscellaneous information should have already reached your AI chips.
Seeing how Vice Captain Joseph made a slight pause, the cadets exceeded their AI chips and saw all that information.
Now you have access to the Imperial Military Academy network. You can find our armory, stores, missions, and many other things in it. You can also use it to monitor your Imperial military credits.
Joseph paused again. He even signaled the cadets to enter the Imperial Military Academy network this time. Kane was excited thinking about all the treasures that the Imperial Military Academy network might have and immediately accessed it. He wanted to head into the stars directly, but a message appeared when he entered the network. Welcome Cadet Kane Lorifa to the Imperial Military Academy network. Please select a code name that will work as your online ID. Kane frowned as he heard that message. There was no real problem with it, but what bothered him was that he had always sucked at creating names. It was only after almost a minute of contemplation that Kane's eyes glowed as a name came to his mind, one he was sure was awesome. Saint of Killers. As soon as Kane chose that name, the robotic voice appeared again in his mind. Welcome, Saint of Killers, to the Imperial Military Academy Network. Primary interface. Personal information. Classes. Stars. Missions. Imperial military credits, 282. Kane took a moment to review the information in the Imperial Military Academy Network. After seeing the wave artifacts, he was surprised by their variety and price. The military credits obtained by killing all those wave beasts and dark race warriors in the Military Academy secret military trial were multiplied by a factor of 10, meaning what he gained in those 3 months of killing was just 28.2. And the cheapest wave artifact that Kane could find in the stars was worth 30 Imperial military credits. Out of curiosity, he looked for his kinetic gauntlets. To his shock, they were worth 950 Imperial military credits. To buy them through the star, Kane would have to kill 30 times the amount of dark race wave warriors he did inside the Military Academy secret trail. No wonder commoners find it almost impossible to get wave artifacts. They are incredibly expensive.
Brat, why did you choose the word saint for your ID?
Apex's voice woke Kane up from his thoughts, and that question made him frown. Can't you read my thoughts?
I can, but there is a moment when an idea comes into birth, and even I cannot reach that level of precognition. I want to know what impulsed or inspired you to use that word. Was it a feeling or something else?
Kane felt a level of seriousness in Apex's words that confused him greatly. The absolute life form system seemed to be a miracle of the universe, and as the system spirit, Apex was also a unique entity. For him to act this way due to a word was strange. Although Kane was curious about the reason behind Apex's reaction, he was sure the system spirit would not reveal that information. So, he chose just to tell the reason. Honestly, it just sounded cool.
I see.
Apex only said that before remaining silent, leaving Kane full of questions. Kane kept exploring the Imperial Military Academy network when suddenly, a new message appeared. Saint of Killer, upload all the documentation regarding your killing inside the Military Academy secret trial. Kane followed the instructions, uploading all the videos and pictures to the Imperial Military Academy network. Of course, he only showed the final blow. There was no need to reveal any more of his abilities. The AI chip module uploaded the videos extremely fast, and less than a minute later, Kane saw a new section appear in the Imperial Military Academy network. Collapsing Lightning Military Academy ranking. Kane selected it, and a screen with several names appeared. Collapsing Lightning Military Academy ranking. -1, Blood Inferno 864. -2, Ice Lotus 856. -9, Saint of Killers 282. -10, Beast's Master 264. Kane was a little surprised to see his name in the ranking, but after some thought, it made sense. Unlike the others, he did not have to share his Imperial military credits, and thanks to his wave artifacts and the AI chip module, his killing speed was pretty fast. Vice Captain Joseph saw that everybody had enough time to go through the Imperial Military Academy network and watch the collapsing Lightning Military Academy ranking.
All of you should have already seen the collapsing Lightning Military Academy ranking. The cadets with the 10 highest accumulations of Imperial military credits are in it. Each month, those in the ranking will get 500 Imperial military credits, with the top 3 getting an additional 500.
Desire appeared in all the cadets' eyes as they heard those words. 500 Imperial military credits was a lot, and when they read the name at the N-1 position, they all turned toward Levi. Although their batch of cadets was not the only one taking the Military Academy secret trial, they assumed Levi to be Blood Inferno due to the fiery nature of his astral wave. Levi felt the gazes of the cadet but showed nothing. He had the strength to back up his position.
You have all the information needed at your disposal for your stay in the collapsing Lightning Military Academy. Use the time to familiarize yourself with the city if you wish. Classes will start in 2 days.
Vice Captain Joseph said those final words before turning around and leaving the cadets on their own. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates. Episode number 30, Fiend Devourer. All the cadets had already formed groups among themselves during the Military Academy secret trial, so they remained in them. Even those commoners who were unhappy with how things went inside the trial preferred to stay together. There were only 3 people that were utterly alone. One of them was Levi, whose powerful and hostile aura kept people away. The other was Nera, who was a complete pariah. And the last one was Cain, who had no intention of making friends with the people who had rallied against him. Cain's experience with Jonathan had taught him a harsh lesson, and although he did not believe everybody was the same, he would not offer his friendship easily. Since he had nothing to handle with the cadets, Cain read the information regarding his residence and headed to it. He took the chance to explore the surroundings on his way, but did not find anything remarkable. It made sense when he got a better understanding of the city. This massive metallic structure built with a Titan tower at its center was the Lightning Imperial Fort. As for the place where Cain and the other cadets stay, that was an isolated section. The youth were not stuck together with the rest of the army. Cain reached the building where he would stay after almost an hour of walking. It was nothing impressive, and the entrance led directly to a series of elevators. Less than 2 minutes later, Cain reached his apartment. It was very simple, with a bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom. Of course, it was a palace compared to his home in the slums. The first thing Cain did was head into his bedroom, where the drone that took his belongings before the trial started was supposed to be. Good, nothing happened to it. A smile appeared on Cain's face as he took out the picture of his father. He went to an empty cabinet and formed a small shrine, similar to the one he had in his house.
I am sorry for spending so many days without showing respect, sir. However, the Military Academy secret trial was not a place where I could get distracted.
After speaking those words, Cain bowed to the altar for 5 minutes before standing up. Cain went to the bathroom, took a shower, ate some food that was not raw meat, and then collapsed in his bed. Those 3 months inside the trial had forced him to spend every second on high alert, and now that he finally relaxed, his mind needed proper rest. It was 10 in the morning when Cain finally woke up. He slept for roughly 12 hours, a lot considering his powerful vitality.
Brat, you have rested enough. It is time to focus on your next step.
Apex's words made Cain focused, and a serious expression appeared on his face as he went to the living room and ordered his belongings.
I have 5 wave artifacts. The kinetic gauntlets and light boots are very useful for me. The other 3 use essence wave, so I should sell them.
Cain had killed 5 Dark Races wave warriors inside the Military Academy secret trial, 2 Abyssal Demons, and 3 Hell Devils. He got his gauntlets and boots from the Abyssal Demons, and from the Hell Devils, he got a sword, dagger, and arm guards.
You can directly sell the wave artifacts you don't want to the Imperial military force, and you will get 50% of their selling price.
Cain could not help but frown when he saw that. If he sold them that way, he would lose a lot of Imperial military credits.
There is a second path we can take. That is through barter with someone else in Lightning Imperial Fort. Oh, is that legal?
Although the idea of barter interested Cain, he was not willing to risk angering the hegemon that was the Imperial military force. He knew that wave artifacts were important for the military and did not know what type of market you could find outside of the Imperial military force.
We can consider it a grey area. While barter is somewhat shady due to the massive amount of stolen goods moved in that way, we will be fine if we don't meddle with those highly regulated. The most important part is to find a reliable broker in the Godslayer humankind network, which I already did while you slept.
Apex's explanation handled many of Cain's worries, and after a moment, he chose to go down that path. The Jew soon found someone interested in the dagger and arm guards and managed to exchange them for full body armor. As for the fire sword, he kept it for the time being. Cain deposited the 2 medium bronze wave artifacts in the drone and put in a series of coordinates before letting it out of the building through his window. If everything goes well, it should return in a couple of hours with the armor. After handling that, Cain took out the silver orb that Levi had handed to him. He had made a quick scan and knew it did not contain a wave artifact but something else. Cain used the chip module, and soon a virtual screen appeared in front of him. Fiend Devourer, Astral Rebirth Path of Power Cultivation Technique, a total of 10 levels. The first 9 levels correspond to Astral Wave Warrior level 1 to level 9. The 10th level focuses on the advance to Wave Champion. Allow the user's digestive system to consume flesh and blood of dark races, Wave Warriors to strengthen the body and extract Wave for cultivation. If branded, the device will transfer the cultivation techniques information to the AI chips database. The unauthorized distribution of this information is considered treason and punishable by death. Kane's eyes widened as he saw that information, and in the next second, a smile appeared on his face. Of all the things the silver orb could have contained, a cultivation technique was the best. Thank you for listening to the Age of Chaos audio story. Storyfy grows with listeners like you. Support the series by sharing it and join our Telegram for the latest updates.